Canucks outshoot the Blackhawks badly, but still come up on the wrong end of a 5-2 loss at Rogers Arena. We're breaking it down now on Rink Wide Vancouver. And we welcome you inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Rink Wide Vancouver brought to you in part by Bet365. It was the Blackhawks 5, the Vancouver Canucks 2. Shot clock tells one story, the score clock tells another. I'm Jeff, he is Irf, and do we just skip through the first 40 minutes and go directly to a wild third? I guess we can't, because you're going to lament a bunch of the chances that the Canucks had in the opening two periods. In fact, they did put a puck past Spencer Knight, but it was challenged by the Blackhawks and ultimately overruled. And I do think that the War Room got that one right. As for the Vancouver Canucks, they didn't get a whole lot right. 45 shots on goal and a couple of late ones that make the scoreline look a little more palatable and a little flattering to the home side, but it goes into the books as another home ice loss. It looked for the longest time like they were going to get shut out in consecutive home games after the Rangers blanked them before the road trip. Bottom line is, it's a loss. The Canucks tried. I'm not here to knock the effort. You can't get to 45 shots without doing some good things, but it's a bottom line business, and the Blackhawks skate away with the 3-goal win.
Can't score. Couldn't defend on this night. That's not a recipe to win in the National Hockey League. No regulation wins in their last 9 games, Jeff. That is simply not good enough.
Yeah, I've got that in my notes as well. I'm glad you brought that up, because
we'll talk about it later, but yeah.
No, but I mean, by definition, they're 3-6 in those 9 games, but that tells you that opponents have taken a point off the Canucks in 9 straight. The Canucks are get out of jail free card for a lot of their opponents right now. And yeah, there's the backstory of the injuries, but you got Quinn Hughes back the other night. You got Connor Garland back in this one. You dominated territorially, but again, in a scoreless tie, the Canucks blinked a bunch of times in that third period. The penalty kill, it stinks. A league-high 16 power play goals against now. The Ottawa Senators were idle, so they didn't allow a power play goal, but the Canucks did. The Hawks had 1 power play, and they converted, and that's just the story of this Vancouver penalty kill right now. Is discipline was pretty good in this hockey game, but you give a team an opportunity. The Canucks had the first 2 power plays of the night. They had to know that a power play was coming the other way, and when it did, it was Tyler Bertuzzi who had the big third period. He had the hat trick. He's up to 6 goals on the season. Connor Bedard, the North Van product, scores into an empty net to seal this deal, and he was a factor. We'll talk more about his night as things go along. It's Rink Wide. If you're a regular here, you know that the show is fully interactive. In fact, it works better when you contribute, and we want to hear from you. Hit us up with a super chat into the live chat. We'll certainly pick some comments off as we go here. But our charity partner again this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. What do you make of a game where the Canucks shoot the Blackhawks 45-28, but again struggle to put pucks in the net, to the 2 power plays? We can talk about the injuries. That's as good as their power play is going to get with the personnel that they've got. And again, you're just looking to strike first, get that first goal, give Spencer Knight some credit. He'll factor into the 3 stars here. But, we've talked about the fact, the schedule, all the road games, everything they've been through. They're home for 4. And I think we all kind of felt, Irf, like the Blackhawks and the Blue Jackets, that's
go get them.
The undercard because of what's coming down the pipe and staring the Canucks in the face here, starting on Sunday with a visit from the Colorado Avalanche, a scoreless tie into the third period. This is a game that's there for the taking, and the Canucks, they didn't take it, quite frankly, and now they fall back behind or below that 500 bar again. And
am I silly to say that Spencer Knight didn't have to be spectacular in this game? Well, in all reality, I don't think that he did. I think the Canucks got a lot of shots. 45 were any of them very quality scoring chances that we can sit here and say that they had a chance to take a hold of this game? Not entirely. So putting the puck at the net from the perimeter, it's going to add another shot, but is it really going to test the goaltender? And I think thank God Evander Kane got 10 shots, because if it was Connor Garland that came in and led this team in shooting just after missing a few games, that tells you so much more about this team than they're really what they really have going on. And we haven't even started talking about the defensive issues on this team. So offensively, they had a chance to go, and they played so well in the first 2 periods, and then completely all fell apart. And it's just, you look at it and say, you got taken to by this Chicago team? They've been playing well. Connor Bedard's good. Tyler Bertuzzi's had some good games, obviously, against the Vancouver Canucks, but on paper, you should be easily taking this Chicago team.
Yeah, Garland had 7 shots in his return to the lineup, so good on him. Plays 20 minutes. Didn't look like a guy that had missed 3 games in that last road trip. But you're right to your point about Spencer Knight. Like, as I look through my notes here, Arshdeep Bains went hard to the net in the first period. Pretty decent scoring chance there. Aatu Ratu down the left wing could not have drilled Knight in the logo any harder. Like, bullseye. This is the NHL. You got to be picking corners. I know that Ratu ends up scoring, gets his first of the year, but he didn't look like a goal scorer on that chance in the first period. You know what this night is, Irv? I think this is the night we lament the drop pass in the offensive zone. EP40 with the drop pass to Evander Kane, and then shorthanded right after the Blackhawks had scored, and the Canucks are killing a penalty, and we talk about the penalty kill. Again, it's Elias Pettersson and Connor Garland moved to the attack, and when it looked like Pettersson probably should have shot the puck, he elects to drop it off to Connor Garland. And
the first one, Evander waited too long to pass it.
Yes, 1,000%.
Petey was getting the puck through his skates. But even then, shoot the puck. You are the one person on this team that there is no leash on you. You are not getting held back by absolutely anyone on that coaching staff or whoever it may be. And maybe in his mind, he thought that Evander coming in with speed would have a better chance. But in all reality, you're the only guy on that team, other than maybe Quinn Hughes, that can uncork it at any possible point. And the fact that you didn't kind of showed what this type of night was going to be for the Canucks.
Yeah, as I look through other scoring chances that I made note of, Connor Garland intercepted a clearing attempt on the power play, took the puck out of the lane, went right to the net, cut across the goal mouth. Good scoring chance. One of his 7 shots, didn't convert there. And I don't know, Lucas Reichel may never score. This guy may just end up being a footnote that, he came through town and wore the Canucks jersey for a little while. He had a partial breakaway early in the second period as well. Shocker, spoiler alert, he didn't score and still doesn't have a point as a member of the hockey club. This is his former team. This was supposed to be some sort of revenge game for Lucas Reichel. No revenge, and he comes out on the wrong end of the scoreboard as well.
And he got dummied in the faceoff circle.
And he had another tough night in the faceoff circle. It kind of goes back and forth with him. But yeah, winning 2 of 9 draws, not so much. On a night where the Canucks come out well ahead in the faceoffs, mostly due to the work of Elias Pettersson and Aatu Ratu. Before we get into great detail about how this game turned on a dime and then ultimately got away from the Vancouver Canucks, do want to go back to the 8:34 mark of the second period. Scoreless tie, Canucks pressing, and some decent work again by Drew O'Connor, who's been one of their more prominent players for the last couple of games, and that in itself is sort of an issue when you step back and look at who's going and who's not going for the Vancouver Canucks right now. But Drew O'Connor causing some chaos, gets the puck to the net, a couple of whacks at it, but in the process, bumps Spencer Knight, and I can watch Spencer Knight. I'm kind of staying down as well and not trying to scramble back to my feet, and it's a bang-bang play. Puck winds up in the net, but you kind of felt that Jeff Blashill was going to challenge it, and we saw one the other night in St. Louis that didn't look like goaltender interference to me, to my naked eye, but it was challenged by the Blues, and it went against Evander Kane, took his first goal off the board then. And I've thrown my hands in the air here and I can't figure out goaltender interference in the war room, so I'll just let them make their call. But I did think, as much as I wanted to see the Canucks rewarded for a couple of decent periods of hockey, I felt that one all along was coming back. And sure enough, pretty quick review, and they said, no, there was some goaltender interference there. So unfortunately for Drew O'Connor and the Vancouver Canucks, what looked like a 1-0 lead was short-lived. Goal comes off the board and play on into the third period in a scoreless tie.
Yeah, and I think if you're a goalie in the National Hockey League now, I mean, it's like in the NFL, that you're going to get protected. The quarterbacks get protected. If you feel any sort of contact, you're going to go down in the crease, and if the puck's in the area, you stay down. You're probably getting the goaltender interference call 9 times out of 10. Unless it's egregious and you're completely out of position where they deem that you had enough time to get up, position yourself, and make the save, you're going to get that call, like I said, 9 times out of 10. So Yeah. Unfortunately for the Canucks, they weren't able to score. And for Drew O'Connor, he's a guy, the Doc has been on fire a lot lately for this team. But unfortunately for him, that one didn't count.
So through 2 periods of play, the shots were 35-19. Again, credit to Spencer Knight for doing his part. And Lankinen, to that point, had to make a couple saves as well. And then the bottom sort of fell out for Lankinen and the Canucks. And in the end, the shots were 10-9 in the third period. Unfortunately, the goals were 5-2 in Chicago's favor. And third periods have been an issue for the Canucks. We saw the late lead get away the other night in Nashville. So, 5-2 for their opponents in this game. But 15 games into the season, the Canucks have been outscored 25-12 in third periods. That's tough.
And it's not good enough.
And they've been in most of those games. Like, these haven't been games that, they've been blown out in the first period and then it's garbage time. These are games that are getting away from them in the third period. And whether that's a case of the compressed schedule, all the travel, the injuries catching up to them, whatever the case, that is a statistic that stands out. It's not our stat that stands out. We'll get to that. That's still coming up here. But getting outscored 25-12 does not sound like a formula that is going to lead you to enough victories over the long haul here in an 82-game schedule.
Well, we talked about this last game. They're not the aggressor in the third period. They don't know how to take a game over, even with the lead, and just put a game away. So many times we sit here and see the Canucks are just fighting their way to claw back. Oh, they're the Cardiac Kids. It's cool to get this game into overtime. Well, you know what's cooler? Having a lead and playing with a lead and being a team that takes a game over and shuts it down completely. And they have not done that at all this season.
Got ourselves a super chat supporting the BC Mental Health Foundation. Domaniac, a regular contributor, and we appreciate it always. Canucks fire 45 shots, but few real threats. They need to simplify. Stars have to trust their shots and bury chances instead of overpassing. And tonight felt like a night, even with 45 shots on goal. It did feel like there was still a little bit of overpassing there. We talked about a few of the Pettersson chances. We mentioned Reichel. A pretty quiet night. Brock had his 2 goals the other night, but on a night like this one, 45 shots, Brock Besser had 1 attempt. And it was a shot on goal, but that was his only attempt on the night. You want to see Brock getting in on the shooting gallery as well, just because he's a proven goal scorer. I want the puck on his stick in some of the shooting areas, but it wasn't to be and wasn't a... It was not a banner night for him, and whatever. I mean, he had the big night the other night. He's not going to score every single game, but yes, add him to this group of guys that, it's a pretty small list of guys that you can turn to and legitimately expect to score on this Vancouver Canucks hockey club. And so when it looked like they were going to get blanked, they get a couple of token goals at the end. Ratu gets his first of the season. Evander Kane gets his first on home ice. Nice shot, and look, it's good that he's heating up. People wondered when he was going to score. Well, he scored in back-to-back games. Maybe this is a sign that, the goals are going to start rolling for him. But they need more from Pettersson. They need more from DeBrus. They need more from Besser, Garland back in the lineup. If those guys aren't contributing and scoring, it's going to be difficult. And throw Quinn Hughes in there. Quinn Hughes looking awfully ordinary. And I know that he came back from injury.
It's like you read my mind. I was going to say, is it time?
So long together
is it time we have to start having a conversation about Quinn Hughes?
It is. I just want to put it on pause because I want to get to the 3 stars. Okay. He's not one of them, and then that'll allow us to discuss some of the guys on the Vancouver Canucks side of things. The 3 stars brought to you by Greta Bar YVR. Great place to catch all of the games, and it's a great time for so many sporting events right now. So if you're looking for a place, make a note. Greta, they've got all the big screen TVs that surround the bar. They've got the street food menu. They've got game day specials, food and drink. They've got the arcade games as well. It is a lot of fun. Every time we're there, it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure you'll find the same thing for yourself. Greta Bar, the place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. The 3 stars in the building, as selected by Sportsnet: Tyler Bertuzzi, Spencer Knight, Evander Kane. Kane had a big night, but sorry, I'm going clean sweep here on Rink Wide for the Blackhawks.
Yep, I agree.
Their guys came through, and the Canucks guys didn't ultimately. And there's the gap-toothed grin of Tyler Bertuzzi. 3 goals on 4 shots. It's the hat trick for him. How about this? When the Canucks beat the Blackhawks 3-2 in the Windy City 3 weeks ago, Bertuzzi had one of their goals then. He also had a goal disallowed late in that hockey game, so officially only 1, but he thought he had scored a second one that night, and here a hat trick. He came into the night with 3 goals. He had 3 in the third period in this hockey game, so the first one, the little off the skate, but I don't think he kicked it in. I think that was more of just a redirection, like Michael Bunting's goal the other night in Nashville. And the little backdoor on the power play and mini stick, kind of a Connor Garland move as he choked way down, but was able to redirect it past Lankinen. And then his third goal, just all kinds of time and not one for the sizzle reel for Tyler Myers. And it was a tough night for the big Canuck veteran defender. But Tyler Bertuzzi is your first star. There's Spencer Knight. Stops 43 of 45, and hey, why not? Picks up an assist. The outlet pass to the neutral zone, and Bedard with the nifty play to get it away from Quinn Hughes. Pots it into the empty net, and there is Connor Bedard, the North Van native. Lynn Valley has a goal, and he had 14 shot attempts in this hockey game, or 5 shots on goal. He had 14 attempts by himself, a couple of close. How many breakaways did he have in the first period alone? I thought, my goodness. It kind of had the feeling of a game that was going to end 5-2 in the first 5 minutes. And then it was scoreless for 40+. But Bedard, the last guy that you want to give opportunities to the way that the Canucks did. Plus, he had that scary moment in the first where he went sliding heavily and basically face first into the end boards, but was glad to see him pop back up and stay in this hockey game.
Yeah, Bedard's been on a pretty insane run these last few games for him. I think he's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's got now 10 points in his last 6 games. So pretty good run for Connor Bedard. Obviously playing with a lot of family and friends in attendance. You know the goal meant a lot to him, even though it was just into an empty net. But you could see the smile on his face after how happy he was. He's a guy that's been through a lot of bad stuff with the Chicago Blackhawks over the last little while. So obviously, getting that home cooking, being able to come here, play well, his team get the win, and the way that they did it in the third period obviously must make him feel pretty good.
So there you go. Clean sweep here on Rink Wide for the Blackhawks. It was Bertuzzi, it was Knight, and Connor Bedard. Now, Evander Kane would deserve honorable mention. He scores for the Vancouver Canucks, the one-timer with the goaltender pulled, so another 6-on-5 goal for the Canucks. A wild stat line for Kane. Plays 19 minutes and 27 seconds, scores 10 shots on goal on 13 attempts. So not afraid to pull the trigger and let fly, but could only beat Spencer Knight the one time. We went through some of the other shot takers for the Vancouver Canucks, kind of a mixed bag in terms of the guys you want shooting and the guys that weren't shooting in this hockey game. And Quinn Hughes, generally, volume shooter, puck on his stick a ton. The captain only had 1 shot on goal in 26 minutes and 45 seconds. Now he gets an assist on the Kane goal, so he figures in the scoring. But 2 ends of the ice here. We always talk about Quinn Hughes, and his superpower is tilting the ice, and he defends by spending most of his shifts in the offensive zone. That's just not happening for him in the early going this season. And again, I know he missed 4 games, so he's only played 11 of the 15 that the Canucks have played. But no cape, no superhero for the Vancouver Canucks in this game. And honestly, defensively, like the other night, the first goal in Nashville, I didn't love the play that he made in the neutral zone, and then I really didn't love him sort of sauntering back on the back check. Here, we talk about the first goal that Bertuzzi scores, the one that goes in off his skate. It's him and Myers, and Quinn kind of loses Bertuzzi in coverage there. And then the Mikheyev goal as well. It's Quinn Hughes, it's Brock Besser, it's Lucas Reichel, and now Mikheyev standing there has the opportunity to pull a puck out of the pile and snap it home. I'm not loving what I'm seeing from the captain right now.
There's got to be something more. Whether it's another injury or something else going on, because this isn't the same player that Vancouver Canuck fans and people that watch the NHL, people that cover the NHL are used to seeing. But people straight up message me and be like, what's going on with Quinn Hughes? No one really knows. And you mentioned the one shot. He had played the most on the ice for the Vancouver Canucks. 3:44 of power play time. Still only had 1 shot. I know he had, a lot of attempts blocked and missed the net on one, but still, in a game where you're playing so well, in the game where you're down 2 in the third period, you think that this guy would be firing the puck to the net a little bit more, but defensively just hasn't been good enough. It's a collective effort, but the one thing that we kind of praised this team was, okay, their defense as constructed this season, it's not bad. You got Hughes and Roenick. Those two, they can't be separated now anymore. Like they need each other so badly, and it's just shown in a game like this. Defensive miscues all over the place, not just him to blame, but he's going to be there. I mean, he spoke to the media, so you know that he's, owning and taking some of the blame. There just has to be something more that's going on there, whether it's an injury, whether there's something else going on. It just does not look like the same player. And it's pretty evident to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that it would be a confidence thing with him.
But I mean, it's definitely not that, because he skates like the wind when he does have the puck.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he did tonight. Like,
No.
it just didn't look like a game breaker at all. And then if he's not breaking the game offensively, can he at the very least hold his own defensively? And tonight he didn't. Like, we talked about a few of the goals, went through them there, just watched the replay of the Mikheyev goal. He's caught in no man's land, and then he ends up chasing behind the net, but the guy still makes the play around him, and then Quinn's trapped behind the net, and, he wasn't alone. Like I mentioned, Tyler Myers on the ice for 3 of the first 4 Blackhawk goals. And on the Bertuzzi hat-trick goal, like, if you watch the replay there, it starts with Myers in full control of the puck in behind his own net and just clears it to the neutral zone to nobody, and the Blackhawks step up and re-enter the zone, and from there it's a carnival defensively. And as we show it on the live stream here, Myers doesn't really regroup as the Blackhawks bring it in. I'm not going to do play-by-play, but Tyler Myers directing traffic, puck hits his skate, then he hits the deck, and Bertuzzi has all kinds of time. So, as I said, not a banner night for the veteran. And you wonder here, like, we don't know about Derek Forbort. He wasn't on the ice this morning when they skated. Teddy Bluger getting closer. We heard that Lecker-Mackey's going to be closer. They did make a curious move defensively in this hockey game. Ultimately, I don't think it impacted the outcome. We're talking about depth defenders here, but where Tom Willander continues to stay in, and he had his moments in this hockey game as well, DPD took his seat. Mm-hmm. Now, he had a tough night in Nashville the other night. I thought whenever Forbort gets back, that maybe that's when DPD would come out of the lineup. I was a little surprised that they decided, okay, sit DPD down. He's still a young player. He can learn, doesn't have to play every single night. But I was surprised that they took him out and replaced him with P.O. Joseph, who ends up getting an assist on the Atu Ratu goal. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. Late game, you're not looking for a ton of offense. Joseph's going to be judged defensively. He was okay. I mean, there were a long list of guys that I had issues with tonight before P.O. Joseph, but how about you? I was surprised that they made that switch and went Joseph back in and DPD taking a seat.
P.O. Joseph probably shouldn't have got in after his first game. Again, I mean, look, the P.O. Joseph experience is that. The guy's got 200 National Hockey League games, and how many can you look at where he's played more than 5 or 6 in a row? And I think that's kind of telling for a depth defenseman. But for the Vancouver Canucks, like, does P.O. Joseph on the blue line over Elias Pettersson give you your best chance to win when constructing those 6 defensemen? I don't think we can agree and say that. I don't think we can say that it does. I think that, DPD is a better player defensively than P.O. Joseph. And for them, wins are important. I just mentioned, they haven't gotten many regulation wins this season. So putting P.O. Joseph out there every single night, you hinder your chance of getting a win just because. And if you're going to put him out and he's only going to play 10 minutes, what's the point? Like, at that point, DPD's got to go.
But I think some of this was a message to DPD that, hey, the other night in Nashville, not good enough. There are options here. And unless you elevate, this is going to happen. Again, I want to see DPD get right back in there on the weekend. But they've got back-to-back games. They've got bodies here. Maybe it is a game-by-game basis. Tom Willander looks like a regular right now. And as I said, he had his moments in this hockey game. The other guy that we haven't talked, we kind of run through defensively. Not a great night for Quinn Hughes. Not a great start to the season for him. Tyler Myers has been fine for the Canucks for the most part, but wasn't in this hockey game. But the other guy that's had a couple of questionable decisions in recent games, didn't love the play on the first goal the other night. I know you didn't work the Saturday game in Minnesota, but we talked about it with Harm. Marcus Pettersson with a poor read and reaction on the first mini goal and on the Bertuzzi power play goal. Like, he just loses his guy at the back door there, and Bertuzzi with the easy tap-in that we talked about going down low on the stick. But Marcus Pettersson, you're not looking for a lot of offense from him, but he's billed as this character leader guy who's a stout defender, and for the most part is, but this is the NHL. Like, you got to know where guys are. Part of the problem with this penalty kill is you lose your man in coverage. League's too good. Teams are going to take full advantage, and the Blackhawks did on their only power play, and a fair bit of that on Marcus Pettersson. You need more from those guys. Those are we're talking about this top four on defense. It's fine to call them a top four. If they don't play like a top four, then this is going to happen more often than it does.
He gets caught in no man's land quite a bit, and he also gets caught getting beat out of position a lot. And I think that's one of the things that they're going to look at in tape, and you hope that it's something that they can correct quickly, because the Canucks PK, I mean, it's quite stinky right now. And, you go and look at it and say the easy way to get goals on this Vancouver Canucks PK is go right down the middle. Marcus Pettersson is probably going to get beat if you're big enough and get body positioning. Tyler Bertuzzi goes right to the net. Uncontested. Like, he has his way on Marcus Pettersson. So I think that for him to be able to go and do that, other teams are looking at it and saying, if we draw a penalty, this is exactly what's going to happen for us on the power play. And it just happens more nights than not for Marcus Pettersson.
I see the NHL has posted the fact that Tyler Bertuzzi becomes the 7th Blackhawks skater in the past 30 years to score 3 goals in a single period. So it doesn't happen often, but it did in this one. I saw somebody else digging up the fact that at Rogers Arena, Todd Bertuzzi had 1 hat-trick. Tyler Bertuzzi now with 1 hat-trick. Let's get to the stat that stands out. Stat that stands out here on Rink Wide, delivered by Uber Eats. And every time the Canucks are playing at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, or after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. All right, the stat that stands out, Canucks have had 2 players with 10 shots on goal this season, 15 games in. Kane tonight, DeBrusk the other. Both of them, again, come against the Blackhawks, who give up a bunch, but it looks, Surf, like Spencer Knight is becoming the goalie that the hockey world figured. First-round pick of the Florida Panthers, 13th overall here in Vancouver in 2019. So something about the building. He needed an opportunity, and he wasn't going to get it in Florida. They were deep. Sergei Bobrovsky, they're winning Stanley Cups there. They made the trade last year and had to part with Spencer Knight. They probably didn't want to, but you got to give to get. They got Seth Jones. Goalie is such a numbers game, and you just need a chance. Like Artur Silov's getting an opportunity in Pittsburgh. Obviously, Spencer Knight more pedigree than Artur Silov's, but he's getting his chance here, and he's running with it. It looks like the Blackhawks have found their number 1 netminder, which can go a long way to helping Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar and these young guys who have lost, as you said, they've seen a lot of things in a short span in the National Hockey League, but you get solid goaltending, can go a long way to helping the cause.
And I mean, he's going to see the puck a lot every single night. Like, they give up a lot.
Yeah.
So for a guy that wants to, build his game and, hope to work on his game during the game as opposed to practices, this guy's going to get it by fire every single night. And, some nights they're going to win and some nights they're going to lose. But it's not for a lack of trying or for him being able to go out there and try and give his team a chance to win every single night.
So the Canucks won when DeBrusk had his 10 shots, do not win when Evander Kane has his 10, and we'll see if anybody else gets into double digits as this season goes along. Couple of super chats to get to. $20 donation to the BC Mental Health Foundation from Smasher66. EP40 is weak. There's not a whole lot to say. He wasn't good enough. None of them were good enough in this hockey game for the Vancouver Canucks. 15 games now for Elias Pettersson, and doesn't figure in the scoring in this one. So as we basically our nightly PD watch, it's 10 points in 15 games. Like, that's an underwhelming total. It is. And so I don't know that there's a whole lot to add in a game like this one. He played 19 minutes, had 3 shots on goal, 6 attempts. It was good in the faceoff circle, but otherwise wasn't happening for him. And this was a game, Irf, that was begging at 0-0 for one of those moments that he just hasn't produced nearly enough, if at all, through the 15 games this season. So opportunity goes by the wayside here for the Vancouver Canucks. And another night, I'm not going to come in and being weak, but we do appreciate the contribution to the BC Mental Health Foundation. Spadzilli, the Rink Wide gang showing out. Yeah, we're here every night. Good, bad. What do we always say? We deal with the material that is presented by the hockey club. We're not here to make stuff up. We deal with The facts is presented, and the facts here were it was a close game until it wasn't, and the Blackhawks skate away with a 5-2 victory. Want to hear from Canucks captain Quinn Hughes. Has met the media down at Rogers Arena. He was in a chatty mood this morning. I'm not sure that he's going to be digging the topics that are asked of him here, but we haven't heard this either. So we're with you. Let's hear from Quinn Hughes after a 5-2 loss to open the homestand.
Yeah, I mean, obviously had our chances in the first and second, and then a little bit too sloppier in the third for sure.
Is frustration the word that covers how that third period went?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I mean, given how you guys were playing, you were all over them in the second period. It's not what you expected. I didn't expect you down 5-2.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect that. I mean, I guess that's why you play 60 minutes, right? And we had a great 40, but then obviously fell apart there.
Do you give credit to their goaltender on a night like tonight?
No, I mean, maybe. Not really. I mean, he made some good saves, but I wouldn't say he made any, outlandish saves. I don't know what the shot count was, whether it hit 50 or not, but I mean, he played well, but yeah.
So it comes more down to you guys executing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see any insane saves. Did you? No, so.
The fact that they weren't trying to block, it seemed like they were trying not to block shots, and that's certainly something they've been trying to do. Does that throw you guys off? You're shooting, you're trying to create rebounds, things like that, but you're getting clear lanes at the goalie. Does that throw you off?
I don't know. I don't know. I just obviously we got some shots to him. The OC play. It is what it is, but it's nice to see him in front of net there and compete. And I think we got to just keep doing that and find some greasy goals, especially when not much is going in for us right now. But I mean, besides the offense, I think that if you ask the coaching staff, they'd probably be more focused on the lapses defensively than what we could have done offensively.
You didn't score on the power play tonight, obviously, but getting Garland back looked like you had a couple of good chances there on the man advantage, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have him back. Obviously, that's another subject there. Is they scored on their power play, we went 0 for 2, and so I think I can be better on the power play for sure. And as far as Goalie, it was nice to have him back.
All right, there you go, Quinn Hughes. Not really in the mood to give Spencer Knight a ton of credit for a 43-save victory, pushing back. I think it was Quads' question about any great saves. We went through them. There were some pretty darn solid saves, but in terms of diving across to cover half the net and that kind of stuff, no, they didn't make him do that. And Quinn talking about needing to be better on the power play. Yes, absolutely, that part is true. And he had some company there. But funny, nobody asked him about his defensive play, and I would imagine that he would cop to it not being good enough. We don't have to revisit that. We kind of went through it line item by line item. But there's frustration there. He kept back in the lineup the other night, and they win. That part was good. Now he's back. But this whole idea of one step forward, one step back, that's not it. That's not how you succeed in this league. It's not how you get ahead in this league. And now you look at Saturday and you got to get a win just to get back to 500. They're coming up on the 20-game mark. They're at 15 now, and being 500 through 20 games, we can sit here and point to all the things that they've overcome, but if you're 500 at the 20-game mark, you've burned a quarter of your schedule, and you still have to make hay somewhere along the line if you're going to be a playoff team. And that's sort of my concern is maybe this is just we just have to accept that this is who the Canucks are, and it's going to be a season of this one step forward, one step back. Again, I don't think that's the path to the playoffs for this group.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that this team is a 7-2-1 team through 10 games, through a 10-game stretch. I just going by the facts that are given to us, one step forward, one step backwards. I just don't know that they have it to go on a run like that. And in order to make the playoffs, compete in the playoffs, be those teams that you're going to see on Sunday in the Colorado Avalanche, you're going to see on the following Tuesday on Remembrance Day the Winnipeg Jets. Those are teams that have those things and have those moments and have those players that can have those moments that can take your team to the next level. Right now for the Vancouver Canucks, it's just about squeaking and getting by. no disrespect to Jonathan Lekkerimäki, but he's not going to save this team.
Right.
Derek Forbort's not saving this team. Maybe
Hughes
save
and
the
Garland,
PK a little
Hughes
bit.
and Garland are back.
Yeah.
Like, the rest is sort of window dressing. Bluger will help at center, but he's not going to drive offense for this hockey club.
No.
And, maybe he can help the penalty kill, but by himself, I'm not so sure I can sell that to you. So, yes, they'll play whenever he's ready, but you're right. The big ones coming off injury were Quinn and Garland. They're back, and unfortunately, this is what the Canucks put on the ice. Again, 45 shots. They did some good things, but I don't think people want to sit here and listen to us, pump their tires for 45, season-high 45 shots on goal. It's about how many did you put in the net, and ultimately they got 2 late ones that made it look closer on the scoreboard than it really was.
Well, and I think Quinn said it in that postgame as well. He said, if you ask the coaching staff, it wasn't about how much offense we did, it's about how bad we were defensively. Paraphrasing, but That's pretty much what he said.
This segment of Rink Wide, presented by the Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid and its no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. You can drive up to 72 kilometers on battery alone. That's enough to get you from downtown to the rink to the grocery store and then home to recharge. Seamlessly transitions to electric mode, from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of over 950 kilometers. No sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style. It's got the sleek, low, and wide exterior and the sophisticated interior and all of that tech, loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. Right now, you can lease a 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months. That's with $3,600 down. It includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
In what area of this game do you think that they needed to be the best at? I don't want to ask you what you liked, what you hate, because there wasn't much to like other than getting a lot of shots in the first 40 minutes. So in what area was the most improvement needed, do you think?
I think when you have that kind of shot total and discrepancy after 40 minutes, 35-19, defense wasn't the issue at that point. It was bearing down. It was finishing. It was the power play when the game was there looking for somebody to kick the door in and get that first one, and the power play let them down. But I tend to agree, as I think more about Quinn Hughes' comments. Like, he's not wrong when you try to reflect 45 shots. Like, you would think there were 2 or 3 that you could point to immediately that were automatic goals, except for the heroics of Spencer Knight. And sure, there were chances. Of course there were chances. There were 45 shots on goal. But in terms of like the grade A 10 alarms, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I can find you even one there. And so best players, bearing down, making the most of their opportunities. I would say that on this night was what was lacking for the Vancouver Canucks.
We talk so much about Spencer Knight. We kind of really haven't mentioned Kevin Lankinen's night, on a total there too. You can't really blame him on a couple of the goals. The power play goal, we're not going to blame him on that one. The other Tyler Bertuzzi goal, can't really fault him on that one as well. But it seems as though the defensive miscues are happening a lot more when he's in net.
Yeah, and he drops to 2-4 on the season. Save percentage coming in was .885, and he ends up giving up 4 on 24 shots, I guess he faced. I look at the goals. Off the skate, the back door. Mikheyev had all sorts of time. Bertuzzi with the hat trick again, all sorts of time. That reflects more on the play in front of Lankinen to me than it did on the goaltender himself. But I think we said this about his night in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, yep.
You give up 5. Like, at the NHL level, you're not going to win very often now. They gave up 4 the other night. Nashville in 1. I think that's going to be an exception to the rule for this Vancouver Canuck team. And so, while I may not fault him on any one particular goal, he got out goalied. And we bring it up most nights where the Canucks think that they're going to have an edge regardless of who they go with. I think what's interesting now is, I wonder if this goaltending decision, Demko's given up 4 in his last 2. They didn't want Lankinen to go too far without a start, and they don't play again now till Saturday. So I wasn't surprised that this was a Kevin Lankinen start. It's the Blackhawks. He was good against them. He beat them 3 weeks ago. But I wonder if the goaltending rotation for this homestand was sort of set up from the back end where you've got Winnipeg and Colorado. Like, is it possible they're going to split the two on the weekend? You would think, right? Even though it's a home back-to-back?
I think it's very possible that Kevin Lankinen plays Saturday and then Demko gets the next few.
Bingo. And that's why I say sort of setting it up from the back end. You want Demko against Winnipeg? Yes. You want Demko against Colorado?
Yeah.
Yes. Then I wonder, give him an extra day of rest here. It's going to be a practice day on Friday. And even though, Lankinen gives up his 4 in this hockey game, I don't think they can deviate. Like, I like, and I haven't got this confirmed, but if that is their way of thinking, I like that. Like, Demko's your ace. Throw him against Colorado. He'll have a day off Monday, and then can come right back against the Winnipeg Jets.
And then on Friday against the Carolina Hurricanes.
And then they head out on the road.
Yeah.
And so it's 3 and 4. There's back-to-backs on that road trip. They can
travel,
split those. But you're right. You could go, if you're trying to size up your level of competition and you want Demko, he could go 3 in a row against Colorado, Winnipeg, and to start the road trip in Carolina. We'll have to see. 1 down, 3 to go on this homestand, and that is now a concern as well, although this is nothing new. We talked about in the offseason. They have to be better on home ice. They just do. And it's not enough just to say it. Like, I can sit here and scream that the Vancouver Canucks have to be better on home ice. That doesn't make them better on home ice. They have to go out there and execute and perform. They won on opening night against Calgary. They've lost 4 or 5. They're 2 and 4 at home after last year when they won just 17 of 41. So they've found ways to grind out victories on the road, whether it's the bonding and the gelling, whether it's not putting on a show, whatever. They have managed to perform better and derive results better away from home than they have here. But 2 wins in 6 is difficult, especially with what's coming down the pipe here.
Yeah, teams historically with bad home ice records don't fare very well in making the playoffs. And when they do get there, they don't fare very well when competing in the playoffs if you can't win on home ice. And that's been their Achilles heel. And this goes back to last season too, Jeff. They weren't very good on home ice last season.
Nope.
We always talk about the starts and everything before they go on the road. Get these wins early on in the season. Take care of what you need to take care of on home ice before you go on a long road trip. Well, you have the Chicago Blackhawks in town. They're not very good. You couldn't beat them.
No, and so, this used to be a huge thing in Vancouver. I don't know if it is still, but that, the first game back from a road trip, this is a 3-gamer. It was separated. They all had days off. They won the other night in Nashville, and you get the Blackhawks. It can't just be a simple, it's the first game. You can't throw your hands in the air, first game back after a road trip. The previous one after that 5-gamer lost to the Montreal Canadiens, game that they were up in, and, Habs, good hockey club there that were able to grind them down and win in the third period. But that's twice now the Canucks have come off the road and sort of stubbed their toe. And as we said, it gets more difficult from here. They're going to get a Columbus team in on Saturday that doesn't play now until Saturday. They got shelled in Calgary on Nazem Kadri's 1,000th game night, the big celebration there, and then he went out and scored. So they lost 5-1. They're going to be owly and angry when they step on the ice here on Saturday. And, the Canucks have to respond. And if they don't get a result against Columbus, now you're stepping up a weight class when you go head-to-head with Colorado on Sunday and Winnipeg on Tuesday. But that is what's directly in front of the Vancouver Canucks. Want to hear from the head coach.
Okay.
He met me. I don't know that we'll play the entire thing here, but just want to get a read from Adam Foote, who rejoined the hockey club if you missed this. He wasn't with them this morning at the morning skate. And the Canucks public relations staff came out and informed us all that Adam Foote had left the team in Nashville to go back to Ontario for the funeral of his father, who passed away in late October. So we pass along our condolences to the Foote family and to Adam for the loss of his father. Traveled all day, was always going to be behind the bench, and certainly was. So he had his usual perch to watch this thing as well. But you can understand if his mind was still back home with family. However, the show, unfortunately, must go on, and he was there to coach this hockey club tonight. I can't imagine he liked what he saw from his team, at least in that third period, maybe through 40. But let's hear from Adam Foote after a 5-2 loss to the Hawks.
Well, the first 2 periods, we doubled them in chances, and, we all saw that. I think one goes in, pretty good chance we win that hockey game. little mishap on the first one they got defensively. We made a mistake, and then all of a sudden, I just think we got off a little bit from there. I don't know if it was fatigue from the trip coming back or just we overpressed, and you guys saw the rest.
On the O'Connor one that was overturned, were you sort of confident that it wasn't going to count, or what did you think in the moment?
You know, he went to the net. When I saw it, I thought they probably weren't going to count it.
Just on, you mentioned the kind of over pressing and whatnot. I mean, was that just a case of sort of mental fatigue, perhaps, or what did you think happened? What led to the breakdown defensively?
Yeah, I think the first goal was just there was a mistake on the goal, and I think the next couple maybe I don't know if it's mental fatigue, and then you allow maybe frustration to come in and you overpress. We've all been there as players where or you help a buddy out too quick. Or you lose a little trust, whatever it is. I'm not telling you it was one thing, but you're probably right about, you try to do too much or help or overpress at times, and that could happen in a game where you could easily be up 3 or 4 goals in the first 2 periods, get one called back, and then you're coming off a trip where you have fatigue, and then all of a sudden you might be mentally a little bit frustrated, maybe, and that could be the outcome, right?
Offensively, I mean, you guys got a lot of pucks to the net, but it was almost like Chicago were inviting you to do that. Did that almost throw you guys off, the fact that they were giving you open lanes to shoot at?
Sorry,
like just the way Chicago was defending in the sense that they weren't trying to block shots, like they were trying to they were almost permissive in sort of letting the outside shots off. Did that almost suck your guys in a little bit and not work harder to get inside, perhaps?
I don't know. I'm not sure I saw it that way. That they were just letting it was all outside shots. I mean, we had a lot going on. I thought their goalie played pretty good and tight, kept them in it. Maybe we could have anchored a little bit longer at the net. Our first guy, he came off it a little bit too early at times. I think he thought, when you're playing at certain teams, there's a time to come off it, especially when we go D to D. But I thought, as coaches, I heard, they wanted our first guy to stay at the net a little bit longer to keep goalie was having a good game for them, keep him deep in his net, things like that. But it was working what we had going on, and here we are.
Yes, here we are, a 7-8 hockey club through 15 games, and maybe more questions than answers. My concern here is. And it's fine. Like, they traveled home from Nashville, the rest of them. They overnighted in Nashville. They flew home yesterday, and then right back at a morning skate. Sure, we've talked about the compressed schedule and everything else. This is game 15. Like, they get a day off tomorrow. Friday is a rare practice day on home ice, and then it's back-to-back on the weekend. Saturday starts 3-4 again. And then that Carolina-Tampa-Florida trip is 3-4 as well. So you can say fatigue, but you're 15 games into a season that's going to be full of it. And they simply have to find a way to, stay sharper mentally. That if he's chalking that up to mental fatigue that led to the mistakes that they made, they're going to see better opponents, and they're going to have these same fatigue issues. And can they overcome it?
You know who else has a crazy condensed schedule?
Everybody else?
32 other teams in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Montreal Canadiens are 9-3. Devils are 9-4. The Bruins, they're not playing too bad right now. There's some other teams out there that aren't playing too bad right now and are all going to have this condensed schedule.
Also, there aren't many teams behind the Vancouver Canucks in the Pacific Division, and the two that are won tonight. Yeah. Convincingly at that. We talked about Calgary doing a number on Columbus, so Calgary's up to 10 points. I know you don't like looking at the standings at this early stage, but I'm just here to make the point that the Canucks stay on 14 points. Calgary's up to 10. But how about the plucky Sharks that go into Climate Pledge and just kick the crap out of the Kraken? Another big night for Macklin Celebrini. What I see is the first teenager to get to 20 points in his first 15 games of a season since Sid in his rookie season. So he's on fire. Big win for the Sharks. I won't call them the Mighty Sharks because they don't have a ton of wins on the season, but through it all, and they give up a lot on a lot of nights, but they also score goals. They scored 6 against the Rangers. They get 6 here tonight. don't look now. The Sharks are a point behind the Canucks with a game in hand. So
Sharks did work on the Kraken. Macklin Celebrini is a fun hockey player to watch.
yeah.
That team is too, because they just trade chances with every other team every game.
Yeah, and Macklin, rightly so, is sort of working his way into this conversation now, at least a casual conversation about the Olympics. And the way he's going, it's hard to think that if he keeps it up, that he won't warrant serious consideration. All right, you know what else warrants serious consideration? Our line of the night.
Oh, yes.
And I know that you've been rubbing your hands over there with glee. You got another big one coming here. So
Got a big one.
Where are you going for the Bet365 line of the night?
Got a big one coming because they've been absolutely crap the whole season long. So pretty simple tomorrow. Vegas Golden Knights at home to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I like them. I like the Blues at plus money in Buffalo. And I like the Boston Bruins at home, home dog. I usually like taking home dogs. My Columbus Blue Jackets are my biggest home dog I ever take. But anyways, those are three. Vegas, St. Louis, Boston. 3-leg parlays. Some pretty good odds there. And almost plus 700. $10 gets you about 70. So whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Get on the game. Use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly.
And please make a point of following us on all of our socials here at Rink Wide. Hammer that subscribe button for the Rink Wide YouTube channel. I want to talk about the next opponent for the Canucks, the Blue Jackets. We'll do that quickly here in a sec. But a scary moment for Ratu in the first period. Got tangled up with Oliver Moore and crashed into the boards, went down awkwardly, and looked to be in real distress. He was using his stick basically as a cane to support him as he went down the tunnel. And just given what's happened to the Canucks in the first 14 games, you're thinking, oh, man, like, why not another one here? But fortunately was able to get back. I joked online that Adam Foote just screamed, defensive zone face-off, and that got Ratu come running down the tunnel because he knows his role in this hockey club. But just for him, and ends up scoring. So, he was probably wondering when his first one was coming. The Canucks are starting to get some goals now from some of those guys that went a little too long, whether it was Kane, whether it was Drew O'Connor on the road trip, Ratu now. So these guys that are playing regularly, you hope that it's not one and done, that they can start to score with a little more regularity. And really the only guys that have played almost every game now that have yet to score for the Vancouver Canucks, talking about their forward group, Archie Baines, Linus Karlsson, so the Abbey guys. Max Sasson has his 3, but he hasn't scored since the Canucks were in Nashville the first time, so it's been a little while since Mad Max has put a puck in the net as well. Connor Garland back in the lineup. It doesn't figure in the scoring, so he remains on 11 points. That is the team lead, but it's 11 points in 12 games now for him, so they do not have a point-per-game player on this hockey club. All right, as we said, it's going to be a day off because they traveled from Nashville, so it was a day of flying. That's not considered a true day off, not a chance to hang out with family. And so they will get Thursday off. That's one of their scheduled days off for the month, and then back at it, as we said. They don't have many practices, and certainly I can't off the top of my head remember the last home ice practice that the Vancouver Canucks had. Yes, we're talking about practice here. Few and far between. Like they're not going to have many opportunities to practice, and we'll see if they work on a few defensive drills here to try and tighten things up. Because while the Blue Jackets were held to a single goal, they can score if you run and gun with them. Columbus now 7-6 on the season. They allow the most shots in the league. So I know the Blackhawks look like a team that allows the most shots in the league. Gave up 45 against the Canucks, but CBJ pretty permissive that way. They had won 6 of 7 at one point, but have now lost back-to-back games. Kirill Marchenko leads the team with 6 goals and 13 points. Voronkov, he's got 5 goals. Charlie Coyle, off to a decent start, has 9 points. Just remember this little tidbit to file away before Saturday. CBJ has 11 goals from defensemen already this season. No other team in the league has more than 8.
Wow.
So they generate a fair bit from the back end. Canucks are going to have to pay attention to that. Zach Werenski has 4 of them. He's got 10 points and coming off the huge season that he had last year. And for the most part, they've been getting decent goaltending, but not so much in this one tonight as Calgary beat them by a score of 5-1.
You know what we say every single night, though? There's no easy out in the NHL, especially if you're the Vancouver Canucks right now.
Yeah, especially if you play defensively
Yeah.
the way that they did in that third period. So for 40 minutes, there was enough to like, but they couldn't break through. And ultimately, the Blackhawks did. And once they did, sort of caved in for the Canucks. And Chicago got it to 4-0 at one point before a couple of late goals, a minute and 11 seconds apart. Ratu, his first of the year, and Evander Kane with his third. And then it was Connor Bedard into an empty net. 7 goals on the season for the North Van product. 5-2, the Blackhawks defeat the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll do this again on Saturday. We'll do it on Sunday. We'll do it on Tuesday. It's a busy stretch again for the Canucks, starting with that game against CBJ on Saturday. All right, for Jacob Lazar producing, behind the scenes, Hayden helping out as well, our intern who's wrapping up here, and we appreciate his assistance, the shows that he's worked on. That's going to do it for us. Yep, another Rink Wide in the books. 5-2, the Blackhawks over the Vancouver Canucks. For Irv, I'm Jeff. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.